What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Ball to Ball series. As y'all know by now, every time we have an episode, it's real talk about real men. Today is no different. Today, I got my dog Tarique with me, straight out of ATL. Tarique, holler to people, give them a little intro, Brody.
What's happening, man? Appreciate you having me, man. Been seeing what you've been doing with the platform. I love it. Love it, man. I'm out here in Atlanta. Been here for a while, originally from Jersey, but Atlanta's become home. So that's where I'm tapping in from right now, man. I love it. I'm out here. I'm an actor. I've been acting for about 6, 7 years. I love it. Atlanta's a great place to be for the acting industry. So I've been pushing in that. Then I also work in like the IT space as my 9 to 5, just to kind of keep myself above water and build the life I want, because life is multidimensional. So you can't just hit it from one angle. So I do that, man. I have a media channel I'm also working on building right now. I'm excited about hopefully releasing some content in the next few weeks. And I'm just a lover of life, man. I love traveling. I love just trying new things, whether it's eating at new restaurants. I'm real into basketball, so I spend a lot of my free time hooping, playing in different men's leagues, and just kind of just talking about basketball, man. And just always trying to keep myself on a positive, not too high, not too low type of frequency level in life, man. That's what I'm all about.
No doubt. Brody, man. So we got to get into this because you talked about hooping. I used to be a big hooper. It's been a while. I don't really get on the court like I used to, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it sounds like you still might got it. You still might be out there regularly.
I do, man. I try to, I work out at LA Fitness pretty much daily. Normally on a regular week, I'll probably hit the court once or twice just to play and pickup. But then shout out to my guy Calvin, man. He throws some of the best leagues out here in Atlanta. He does about 2 seasons a year, and I'm always running in his men's leagues, just keeping my legs loose. So I still got it a little bit. I don't run as fast and jump as high as I used to, but the IQ is what goes last. So as long as I got that, you good.
Already. Who would you best compare your game to in the league right now?
So right now, at this point in how I play, I would consider myself more of like a dirty work. You know what I mean? Get the job done, play his role. So I'm like a PJ Tucker now.
Oh, no doubt.
I'm a defend. I'm a bang. If I need to guard the tough guy that's hard to guard, I'm a guard him. I'm gonna get physical with him. I'm gonna make him play. I'm gonna knock down open shots. I'm gonna just play the game the right way. So I'm like a PJ Tucker.
I likes that, man. PJ actually from Raleigh, so shout out to PJ Tucker, no doubt.
Oh, is he really?
Absolutely. Yeah, he played high school ball at Enloe, which is literally like right up the street from where I grew up before going out to Texas, man. So shout out to PJ, no doubt.
Man, speaking of that, man, I was actually talking to my mom not too long ago. She told me when we were leaving Jersey back in like the early 2000s, she said her top 3 choices for where she would plan on moving was Atlanta, of course, was number 1. She how far is Durham from
Durham is 25 minutes.
Yeah, so Durham was like her second choice because one of her childhood friends is from Durham. So Durham was her second choice, and then like the Richmond, Virginia area was the third.
Wow.
We almost moved out there to the Carolinas, man.
Wow, no doubt. That's actually crazy because we touched on the A earlier. We touched on DMV when we were just chopping it up. We're in the kind of Richmond area, and now we're talking about Durham. That's crazy how life is, bro.
Yeah, man.
Another question I got, because we're talking about sports, and I would talk sports all day too, G. So you in the A now, but you're born in Jersey. So you could be on the Brooklyn Nets. You could rock with the Hawks. What side? Where you fall at with that?
Man, I gotta go Brooklyn, bro. I've always been I've never been a favorite sports team. I've always had my favorite players for that time, and I gotta rock with them. First, it was Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson, my first favorite player of all time. So I was a Philly fan for the longest, and then I went wherever he went. Once he hung it up, I was a Melo fan. I'm still a Melo fan. I went wherever he goes. Since Melo's on his decline and almost on his way out, my favorite guy right now is Kyrie, man. So I'm rocking with Brooklyn.
Okay, no doubt. I'm very similar to that. I actually went from AI to Kobe. Kobe is my favorite player of all time.
Oh, rest in peace, man.
When Kobe, I swear to God, rest in peace, man. When Kobe left, I struggled to find a new player who I was really rocking with. But you know who I'm on now?
Who that?
That Dame Lillard time.
Dame, okay. Speaking of Dame, man, let me ask you how you feel about this trade. I think the perfect move for Dame, I think Portland should trade Dame to LA, let Westbrook go to LA, because I think Dame and LA will be better just chemistry-wise and team-wise. And Portland could, because since they've already gutted the team, why not bring a star that can fill some seats in? Westbrook can still, in the right system, he can still put up numbers and be a good player. It just doesn't work in LA. So you're letting Dame go be Dame while he's still in his prime.
Yep.
Westbrook can come sell some tickets and help young guys get molded, and you can build around that for however long you choose to. Both sides win.
That's a good trade, but my only problem is the Lakers got to give up way more than Westbrook right now, though.
You think so?
They trade value ain't the same based on how Westbrook been playing.
Ah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Dame is what, all NBA the last 4 years.
True.
Westbrook,
true.
He putting up good, triple double numbers, but he ain't all NBA status no more.
You right.
So like, I think it's a great trade if the Lakers can package more with Westbrook. I think that actually works. That's a good ass. You ain't no GM, is you?
Hey man, I mean, Lakers got some, they got a lot of old guys on there and guys that can like play their role. I mean, they can afford to give up a few pieces and still be solid. So I would love to see him explore that.
I would love to see Dame leave, man. But Dame is the one, and one of the reasons I rock with Dame is because he's so 10 toes, straight loyal. But it's kind of at a point now you got to be like, if the team ain't doing what they doing, if they ain't doing good, you can't keep being super loyal to them. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And I mean, as loyal as they are to him, we know how business and politics go. The minute he's down right now on an injury, let him get injured next year back to back. That front office is going to start saying, hey, Dame is getting a little bit older. They'll go ahead and trade him when he doesn't even have any bargaining chips. So you got to, and he's from Cali. So, I mean, it gets to a point in time in you as a man where you have to, say what's best for me. And, are you okay with just making that max contract and just, staying in Portland, or do you really want to go compete and win a ring and take it to the next level?
And the thing is, I mean, bro, I ain't not gonna lie, that's a really good trade because you know how Bron plays. Bron is not like, especially at this age, like he can put up the numbers easily, but like he will defer. Like you bring Dame there, he'll make sure Dame eats AD. He like glass house now. You never know what's gonna happen these days with AD. But like I can see that chemistry working perfectly. Because also what Russ can't do is he can't shoot the rock.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. He can't shoot it.
You might got something. You might be cooking up right there.
Man, I would like to see it, man. I think it could work. I think it could work. I think either Dame, or I even think possibly a John Wall could work. It's been a while since we've seen John Wall in like action for us consistently, because since he's been injured and just not playing. But I think if he could come in and really hoop, I think either one of them two could be a better piece than Westbrook is. And
they apparently that John Wall trade came up for Houston.
Yeah, I think I did one. I can't forget who declined, but I think one of the teams declined the trade.
Yep.
So politics, man.
And John from Raleigh too. Shout out to John, man. We got some hoopers coming out of here, man.
Y'all heavy, man. It's a lot of people repping the Carolinas now, man.
You know that.
Heavy. Yeah, y'all out here heavy, man. I like it.
Yo, son. Tarique, we done talked enough sports, man. You know why you're here, though, bro. Like I said, man, this is the Ball to Bowl content series. We can see you right now. You killing the look.
Trying, man.
It ain't always been that way, dog. You ain't always been that smooth with it, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So take us back a little bit, G. Take us back to middle school, high school, whenever you can remember, and walk us through that story, man. What kind of hair did you have back in the day, man?
Yeah, so man, I even take you back a little further than that. So, again, I'm a 90s baby, born in 91. And, again, when I fell in love with basketball in that early 2000s area, and I told you AI was my favorite player. So, of course, I went through that phase where I wanted braids back in the early 2000s. So I had the braids, man. I had cornrows from like 10, 11, 12 during that time. So I had the cornrows. I loved it. It took me forever to do it because I would grow my hair out. Then my mom would make me cut it because she said I look a hot mess. Then I'll beg her to let me grow it back out. Then I finally grew it out, and my hair was long enough, and I had the braids. I rocked it for a long time, and the very last braid style that I got before I cut my hair was the AI braids, the two big braids with the little ones and going into it.
Yeah,
that was the last hairstyle I got. Man, I remember because I went to this older girl in the neighborhood, Tasha Black, super sexy. She did my hair, and I got to sit between her legs for 4 hours while she braided my hair, and I was in heaven. That was the last braid style I had, and I really, I loved it. But it was just ready to cut. I was just ready to cut it at that point because it was, having unfortunately, my mom or my sister or nobody didn't braid hair. So I was always having to pay people to go. My mom was having to pay people to go do it. So it got to the point where it was just too much. I'm a single mother household. Mom, dudes don't always got that extra 30, 40 to, you know what I'm saying? So I cut it. And I just went through the motions of, we also grew up in the waves era. So I went through that period of time, always had a do-rag on and brushing my hair, trying to get my wave game right. Luckily, I had a good grade of hair.
Okay.
So, that was my hairstyle I rocked all through high school, man. Just, the waves and sometimes I would let it grow out a little bit, but my hair was just too straight for it to really look at like I would want it to when it was grown out. So for the most part,
did you have the 360s though when you had the waves, or what kind of?
I had them joints, man. I had the 360s. Okay, yeah, my joints were swimming, man. Yeah, I had them. I used to compete with my boy Quay in the neighborhood. His joints was spinning for real, but we used to compete to see who would be spinning the most.
Already, that's official then.
Yeah, for sure, man. We grew up in that time, man. The young boys now, they not into that. Like
they don't know it, bro. They do not know it.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't carry around brushes or the wave grease or none of that.
I love this, man, because my dog is talking that talk right now. Everybody knows had a brush in the back pocket, had a do-rag, multiple one hanging out the back pocket, have another one in the back sack. You know what I'm saying? For sure.
Back in the day, man, good old days.
Good times, bro.
Yeah, they rock the like the nappy fro type of looks now. That's the thing. I respect it because every generation has its thing. No generation is necessarily better than the other. We just all have our thing, and we're always going to naturally attract to our time, versus the others. But I love it, man. I love seeing the young, the younger people. Of course, we still young, but I love seeing the younger generations come in and reinvent things and put their own twist on everything. I think evolution is important.
So keep it going, bro. So you swimming now? You in high school, right? At this point?
Yeah, high school. Yeah, at this point, I'm swimming. I had the waves and everything. Then when I graduated, you started to see you could see I was gonna be bald at one point. Like my boy D Mook used to always tease me, be like, "Yo, you're getting closer, because it was starting to, you go to a new barber, they may push it back a little bit, then it starts to get further and further. And for me, I'm a spitting image of my father, so I look just like him. So my pops is bald, so I knew it was a matter of time before I went bald. So this was like 19 where I saw it coming.
So question, because again, my pop has a full head of hair, so I never even thought about it. But you coming up, as a young dude with the braids at first, with the waves spinning, even though you seen your pop being bald, do you think at a young age, before you noticed it, you really thought that might be you? Did you really think?
Nah, because you in that young youthful ball of energy. It's like, nah, that can't happen to me. You don't even. It's too far fetched of an idea for you to even think that could be you one day. You just enjoying the moment of having a full head of hair.
Yep.
So I mean, it's a just thinking back to it, man. It's so weird now. I couldn't even imagine having hair now.
Dog, isn't that crazy though, son? Isn't that crazy? Like I think I mentioned to you earlier. I meet people now, and especially women, they'll be like, "Yeah, I can't imagine you with hair."
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? Because sometimes I laugh. I was like, "Don't trip." I was a dog back then too, and
with or without it. Man, it's crazy that it's like people who know us from childhood who, when they see us bald, it's still shocking to them. But there are people that we met in our adult life, they couldn't even imagine us with it.
And not only that, they think you would look weird with hair. They're like,
with hair, exactly. Isn't that crazy to think with I came into the world with hair, and now you saying I wouldn't, but that's a beautiful thing about life, man, and just growing and meeting people at different stages in your life.
Absolutely.
It's a dope thing, man. It's a dope thing. So yeah, I knew it was coming again, only because I'm a spitting image of my father, and once I hit 19, you could see it. I knew it was coming.
How did it feel when you first noticed it, bro? Like, how'd you take that initially? Was you in denial a little bit? Talk to me.
I wouldn't say in denial. I just, in my mind, I knew I had a good amount of time. I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, I know I'm gonna make it at least to my 30s, late 20s, 30s. I'm like, so it wasn't necessarily like, in denial or anxiety about it. It was like, all right, cool. I know what's gonna come. I'll make it work, but I know I'm good for right now. It's nothing I need to worry about right now.
No doubt.
That's how I kind of was around that point, 19 years old, 20 years old.
So was the barber having to do anything at that time, or you were still, it wasn't bad enough for the barber having a?
It wasn't, not yet. At that point, it wasn't bad to my barber would say, even my barber would say, it was like, yeah, you'll probably be bald, but you're good right now. It's not.
Yeah.
So it wasn't anything where he was like, every time I'm seeing, he's like, hey man, let me go to work. Let me try to fix it. It wasn't that bad yet.
Okay, no doubt.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad yet. Yeah, but I mean, it got to that. It got to that point, man. But so I was telling you, before we started that, I went bald at a young age.
Mm.
So I told you I'm an actor, right? So before I started acting, when I was just going through those motions of speaking it into existence and figuring out how I'm gonna start it, one of the things I told myself was when I start acting, I want to be bald. Like when I'm going through my acting career, I want to be bald because actors I looked up to and whatever, they were all bald. And I'm like, okay, me as light skinned man, what I'm saying, on a nicer looking of the spectrum. I don't want to just be, a light skinned guy with straight hair, curly hair. If I go without, I want to like give myself some edge.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. I know I'm gonna be bald once I start acting. This is gonna be my choice, whether I'm bald yet or not. This is gonna be my choice. So it was one time when I was 22 years old. I was like, you know what? Let me see what it looks like, so I know what I'm
Mhm.
getting myself into. So when I was 22, I went to my barber. I was like, yo, Mike, shave it off for me. I want to see what it looks like. He was like, "You sure?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, shave." So I still got the picture somewhere in my phone from the first time I shaved it. So he shaved it off, and this when I was just wearing a goatee. I wasn't even wearing my facial hair
Mhm.
yet. So he shaved it off for me, and I was like, "Okay, it's cool. It's not bad. It's kind of what I thought, but I'm not necessarily ready to keep it like this. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
cool. I'm still young, but okay, at least I know what I can see in the future." My barber was like, "Yeah, you good, bro. It looks good on you. The secret to being bald, one of the secrets to being bald is just work out, be muscular." And I was already in the gym working out, so I had some body to me. He was like, "Yeah, just stay in the gym, keep working out, you'll be good." So I was rocking the bald head for a few days, about a week, and when I tell you, it never came back. It never came back.
Gee.
It never came back, bro.
Yo, son.
It never
All right,
came
hold on,
back.
hold on, hold on. So before you decided to do that, oh, nah, hold on. So was you at all bald in here? It was strictly hairline.
Everything. I had the hairline and everything, bro. Like I said, it was starting to push back a little bit, but it wasn't like, oh man, he's about to be bald. It was still like, all right, I got time. So what happened was I had it all right. When I shaved it, for whatever reason, like the top part right here, it didn't come back. When it was coming back, it was going back really, 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 really
Yeah.
light. So what
Yeah.
happened was I would go to my barber and he'll be like, okay, I have to cut around it and keep everything else really light. So I did that for a couple weeks, but the rest of my hair was growing really fast, and that wasn't. So it would look like dark and light to the point where I was having to go to the barber like twice a week, and I'm like, yo, this is too much. So
Yeah.
let me just keep it. Surprisingly enough, it was a girl that told me. She saw that. She caught me one week when I was kicking it with her. She saw where it was light and the rest was dark, and I needed to go, clean it up. She was like, "You might as well just go bald. You'll look so much better if you just let it go and come home."
Yeah.
That was like one of the deciding factors. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go home, and I'm gonna stay home.
So the first time you shaved it, when you was like, let me try it out, you shaved it. What was people's reaction? Because you said you thought you looked good. Barbers like, yo, you'll be fine. What was people saying outside of that?
It was actually really good, honestly, bro. So two spectrums. So the women were loving it. Like
Yeah.
I got a different type of um energy and attention from women. Like a lot of older women and just women in general, like it really started to kind of give me looks that I
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily. So I guess it just there was an energy that came over me. Then the guy, I remember one day I was at the gym. I was still younger, 22, 23, and a guy at the gym was like, he was like, "Man, you brave, bro. You wearing a bald head," because he could tell I was still young. I was like, "Yeah, bro. It was that time." So a lot of guys would tease me, say, "Yeah, bro, you look like Carlos Boozer." But for the most part, it was like a cool. It was cool. I like the response I got from everybody. Like it felt right. Like it felt more like grown, more sexy, more assertive, more manly, more masculine. It was just a good response I got from everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you too, like internally, like you felt solid about it too.
I
Like,
felt solid about it,
okay.
man. It was like, of course, I went through that phase of like, man, I miss my hair, or man, I maybe try to hide it with a hat or a hoodie or something. So it took me a little while to fully embrace it, but I wouldn't. It didn't even take me a year. Just a couple weeks, a couple months, and it got to the point where now I'm really owning it. Like
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, all right, this is me now. There's no going back. this is who I am now. And once I got to that point, like it was good. And again, that's when that confidence struck. That's when again the attention started coming even heavier. Like I said, the amount of women who just started to flock towards me and just compliment me on a regular, it just started to increase. And once I really owned it, bro, that's really when my life changed.
Woo.
Yeah, man.
Woo. So
Young
talk to
age.
me, talk to me about how that played out for you when it comes to acting. Because you know, you had said off gate, you was like, hey, when I get into this acting space, I
Mhm.
want to shave my head. So you did that. Do you feel like that helped you at all? Did that
Absolutely.
look benefit you? Talk to me about that, G.
Absolutely, because what it's done for me still to this day, it gives me a real diverse range of roles that I book and that I audition for. So I get at 20, at 23, 24 years old, I was getting, because it gave me like an older, more distinguished look. At 22, 23 years old, I'm getting auditions for characters that are 34, 36, like, and real polished guys. Like I'll be like lawyers and fathers and like at the same time, I was getting younger roles too, but like casting directors and people in the industry were seeing me as more distinguished and more masculine, more put together. So that really helped just in terms of like the range I would have and whether it come to, getting agents because they saw I had the potential to be able to, step in different worlds and characters.
Yeah.
So that helped out a lot, man, and just really being able to pull that off. So it's helped a lot to this day. To this day. And especially once I went from being bald and wearing a goatee to wearing a beard. Once I adopted the beard and I had the bald head, then it just took me to a whole nother level. Just the
We gotta
type of
talk about that for a second, man. Because you know, I have a lot of homies up here who will
yeah,
be like, son, like, no matter what, when you go bald, you gotta have a beard. And I
gotta have a beard.
shorties will say the same thing, like,
Yep,
you gotta have a beard.
gotta have a
You
beard.
started off with the goatee, which is you're not the full beard, but it's still some facial hair.
Uh-huh.
The first question: did you ever have the bald head without no facial hair? That's the
Nah,
first question. And
no.
second question is, when you finally did have the full beard, you felt like that really even leveled it up some more.
Yeah, so I never had the bald head without facial hair because I've had facial hair since I was like 18, 19. So even
Okay,
when it was just a mustache or just a little chin strap, I always had facial hair. So it started off with the goatee. Then sometimes I would do like just the mustache and just the chin piece and no goatee. That was cool, but it just didn't give me what I was going for.
yeah,
So
yeah.
once I started rocking the beard, it just felt like everything just came full circle. Like it felt right. And then it's a saying like once you go to beard, you don't go back. Like you don't once you start wearing it, it's no it's no going back. You never stop. So I feel like once I found that, I was really truly home. Like okay, this is my identity now. This is who I am. And it's just been up from there, man. It's
That's
been up
love,
from there.
man. That's love,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
So now that you've been home for quite some time, talk to us about how you've been able to potentially help other guys that are dealing with that. Do guys look at you and holler at you like, "Yo, son, like I'm dealing with hair loss. What should I do?" Or you got some of your homies that are like, "Yo, you came home, you looking smooth with it. Help me out." How,
Yeah.
how, how have you been able to help other homies?
Yeah, man, it's funny you asked that probably about a month or so ago. One of my older guys that I'm real cool with at the gym. He's at that point where it's time to come home. So he hollered at me, and it was I just got to the gym. We in the gym. We spend time in the sauna and just kind of
Oh yeah.
fellowship, have guys talk. So he was like, "Yeah, bro, I'm thinking about coming home." I was like, and I looked at him. I was like, "Oh, are you ready?" He was like, "Yeah, man, it's that time. What do you think?" I was like, "Bro, one, it's gonna look good on you because you're wearing it low." I'm like, you're doing it the right way because the best way to ease your way into it, if you can, if it doesn't just happen out of nowhere, the best way to ease your way into it is just start wearing really low cuts, like really low buzz cuts to where you can see that you have hair, but it's really low. So that you're already getting used to not only other people seeing that, but you seeing it and you feeling it. So once you get to the point where you transition from the low cut, transitioning all the way to being bald, it's going to be a real natural progression. And it's not going to, it won't be as big of a thing as just losing it out of nowhere. And once you do that, you're really going to start to feel it. Like it's going to be like a feeling that comes over your body. And once you own that, it's going to feel great. And then he was asking me just like grooming tips. I told him like, yeah, my hair, the little bit of hair I do have, it grows back really fast. So essentially, I like to hit it every day when I'm in the shower. But if I don't, at least I don't like to let 2 days go past without shaving it because it grows back. So I was like, once you really learn your hair, like once you go bald, fully, and you start to understand your hair more, the way you know, okay, this is how fast it comes back, et cetera, et cetera. Then you'll be able to set more of a routine for how how you do it. And the one thing I told him to look forward to too, that's gonna happen, is you never get used to the feeling of alcohol on a freshly shaved head. Cause that shit is gonna burn and it's never gonna stop burning. I don't care if you've been bald for 10 years or if you've been bald for 20 years, that feeling of alcohol on that freshly shaved head is gonna burn every single time. So get used to it. So I coached him. I just kind of gave him some game through that, and it looks good on him, man. I'm like, it works for him. Some guys have the head and the face and the body for it. Some guys don't, unfortunately. Yep. But when it's like, okay, you gonna be straight. So it works for him. He loves it now. He has the fresh head every time. Then one of my best friends I grew up with hooping with, he a year older than me, and his is starting to go. So last time I saw him, I was like, bro, you got about 3-4 more years.
Hey, Tarique, don't it be funny, son, how you, after you've been home for a little while, you can see one of the homies and you can put a date on it. You're like, bro,
you can though. You can. It's like, bro, it's ticking. It's ticking. You can keep holding on to it, but you only got so much longer.
So I'm crying, G, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, man. So I give him, I'm 30, he's 31. I told him I give him to like 34, 35 at the latest. Then it's gonna be time for him to come on home.
Come on home for sure.
How old were you, bro, when you came home, man? How old were you?
I was 27 when I came home, but like I told you, I fought it for like I peeped it probably like 23.
Okay.
I fought it for like a good 3.5, 4 years, G. And
Okay.
all my homies telling me to come home. Like,
yeah.
But G, like, and to be realist, for you, it wasn't as tough though. Like you kind of embraced it. You jumped the gun. You was like, let me try it out. And it just, happened not be able to grow back, which is funny, son. But for me, G, like, dog, if I could show you, I gotta show you this picture, bro. Like, I was down bad, bro. Like I fought it, like I said, 4 years, man. And where, like you said, you end up having to go to the barbershop so often to like maintain that low look. But what was sad for me, my G, is I would go to the barbershop, and this is how you know I was at rock bottom. I would go to the barbershop, leave the barbershop, and put on a hat immediately. So I would have a fresh cut, but I was still so like worried about it or like dealing with anxiety that I would put a hat on. So I'm paying $20 just another. That was crazy.
Yeah. Do you think that you were so worried about what other people would think that you didn't even take the time to look and develop your own view of yourself to be like, man, this actually looks good on me?
Never did, bro. Never did. I think I was you know how it is, bro. I was so used to, like, my hair was such a part of me, bro. I was going to the barbershop every week getting a fresh lineup. Like I would have women come to the barbershop with, like, it was so much part of my life that, like, and I couldn't imagine being bald, bro. Like, I couldn't even take the time to just try to visualize it, be like, yo, you might look fine. Like, I couldn't, bro. It was crazy. Like, look, so this how bad I held on, my G.
Oh yeah, you got.
Bro, look at that, son.
Yeah, you got. Yeah, okay. So you started losing yours heavily in the middle.
Yeah, my hairline was solid. So really, like, even when if I had the low cut, like, you was like, especially women, because most women, I'm 6 foot. Most women shorter than me, so they would look at me, they wouldn't even know. You know what I'm saying? But I'd be still nervous to sit down. Somebody walk, you know what I'm saying? So bro, I dealt with it, dog. Like, and
you made the right decision. And
like, that's why I'm so passionate about this, because like so many of my homies that knew me around then is like, yo, this is crazy seeing you build this, because like we was there when you were struggling with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a beautiful thing, bro. But like I went through it, man. And I think it's also to your point, how you said your homie in the gym tapped you and was like, yo, I think it's time. Because I think it takes a bit of like vulnerability to be like, I'm dealing with this. Let me open up to somebody about it. Let me holler at my homie about it, right?
Absolutely. Because I mean, even this is why I love your platform. Because to that point, you start to realize that everyone who is bald, man or woman, everyone who is bald has a story behind it. So when you start to, allow yourself to be vulnerable and talk to people, you start to realize, damn, they this happened to them, and this is how they got through it, and you start to hear stories, and then you start to gain a certain pride in your story, because you realize everybody has their own, and it helps. It really helps when you just building your identity. Because again, this life is about evolution, and every chapter is different. And you open this chapter of your book, and it's no going back. So this is who you are. Embrace it and just own it. That's the important part. Just own
110%,
it.
bro. 110%, man.
Yeah, bro.
One thing I also want to talk about, bro, you brought it up, and it also shocked me when I came home, is, bro, you mentioned the fact that, like, son, your hair grows back so fast, right?
Yep.
So coming up, you know what I'm saying, when back in the day when we was in the barbershop, you might see a bald dude in the chair, and you like, yo, what this man's doing in the chair? Like,
Mhm.
son, I'm trying to, what you doing? But on the other side now, we realize how much maintenance it is.
Exactly.
Right? You shaving every day now, son. Back in the day,
Exactly.
you said barbershop once a week, every 10 days.
Yep.
Every day now. Tell me
Yep.
how that surprised, because that was one of the biggest surprises to me.
Yep. Yeah. That it was a surprise to me too, because the ignorance in me before I went bald was thinking, all right, I'm bald. It's easy now. I can just shave my head. I'm good. But I realized for how my hair grows back really fast. So it was, and I don't like being at the point where my head needs to be shaved and I'm going out and it looks like I need to shave my head. So I
Mhm.
try to keep it as clean and fresh as possible. So for me, I try to, like I said, well, on a great week, every day when I hit the shower, I'll just, I got a little Gillette battery power razor, turn it on, and it hits my head
Is
pretty
it
quick.
it's electric or like a regular
It's like
shave?
electric. You pop a battery in it, and you can push the button, and it's like electric, and it just shaves it
Mm,
really fast. It's like
okay.
$11. It's like 11, $12 in the store, and
No
it
doubt.
always comes with an extra cartridge, so it lasts a good while.
Okay,
So I
cool.
use that. So for the most part, I try to hit it every day when I'm in the shower. Some days I'm a little busy and I gotta go. So on days like that, I try to at least not let 2 days go past
Mhm.
before I hit my head. So if I do it at least every 2 days, I can keep it. I can keep it pretty fresh.
Yeah.
Keep that pretty fresh, and I'll go to the barbershop now. But when I go to the barbershop, it's just still hitting my
Yeah.
hitting my face, and that was one of the things I was worried about too. Because I mean, you can probably attest to it. Like how you said, going to your barber was a part of your life. Like it's bigger than just getting your hair cut. The barbers I've had over the years, like we actually have a relationship. We sit
Talk
down,
that talk.
we talk. You know what I mean? Whether it's him, we talking about relationships, or talking about life. I'm
Yep.
getting advice. Like it's an actual like experience. Back when I had hair, me in the chair getting my hair and my face done, that's 30 minutes in the chair. That's a 30-minute conversation with my barber. So I'm like, I'm gonna miss those interactions. So once I saw, okay, you know what, no, I can still go, and whether it's me getting my head cleaned or me getting my face cleaned up, I can still have those, have that as a part of my life. So that was, something again, evolution and redefining who you are and what your life is. So once I got to that point, realized I could still have those moments and still have those relationships and just really building, this my new lifestyle. So I mean, to this day, I look forward. I normally go to the barbershop once a week. I'll see my barber once a week. He knows when I'm texting him. I set up my appointment. I'll be there at 3:00, 3:30, lock me in. I see him. If it's a thing during the week where I have something to do, but I don't have time to go to the barbershop, I got clippers, so I'll just line my face up myself when I need something quick. But for the most part, outside of lining myself up when I need to and then hitting my head, I still go to the barbershop and get my face cleaned up once a week, man. And I just have those moments and those moments of fellowship with my barber.
Absolutely.
It's important.
I think it's really important. And I actually remember the day I shaved my head, because at first I thought, like, well, I guess I'm not going to the barbershop no more. So I hugged my barber. I was like, damn, bro, like, thank you for
Like,
all these years of, you know what I'm saying?
farewell, man. Farewell. It was
But then to your point, I was never able to really like myself get it. Barbers, they barbers for
yeah,
a
they
reason. They got
barber,
that
yeah.
craft. So
Yep.
I was never able to like get it right, like how the barber could do it. So I still would go, like, especially if it's like a
Yeah.
wedding, a major event. I'm linking up with a shorty, whatever it may be. I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and let the barber
Yeah.
get me super tight. And then
Uh-huh.
whenever I walk in, he always like, bro, it's good to see you tight. You know what I mean? So it's always
Uh-huh.
that love. Cause like they
Uh-huh.
say, it's a joke, but it be kind of true. It be something, it be guys be saying that homies be more loyal to their barber than
They
their girl.
barber to their girl. Yeah, it's real, man. That relationship with you and your barber, it's like a real good. It's a real connection, man. Like, cause you can't just go to any barber. Like, I'm sure it's been times where you had to go to once in your life where you had to go to a random barber, or whether you out of town or your barber out of town, where you got to go somewhere and it just don't feel right. the conversation isn't right. They don't clean you up the way you like it to be. It's just not right. Something's off.
It's the scariest feeling, honestly. It's like, it's never a good feeling to have to go to a new barber. It's never a good feeling.
I still have the same two barbers that I go to, and I've been going to for years. If I got one in the city I go to, if I'm out and about, or I got one closer to the crib I go to, and I keep it at that, man. I keep it at that.
That's funny, because I told you I live so many different places.
Yeah.
So I remember vividly, like, if I moved to a different state, going to the barber shop and literally just sitting there and watching cuts.
Yeah.
Before I pick, just watching cuts.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Just like, because you don't know who to go to. So you just got to peep the work to figure out like who's going to be the nicest. So I come in and be like, oh, you waiting for somebody? I'm like, nah.
Yep.
Sit down there for 45 minutes, an hour, just watching cuts. Like, who am I going to really rock with? And after that, it's still a risk. You never know.
Because you don't know. Yeah, I pay attention to that, like how they cut. But I also pay attention to like how they interact with their clients, how they interact with the other barbers. Because I mean, personality plays a big part in, you know, how they cut in their craft as well. So I pay attention to all of that. All of that. Let me tell you a quick little trick, right? Yeah. So since you say, you know, you were never really too good at being able to do this. So what I've learned is whenever I go to the barber to clean my face up, to make it stretch a little longer before I need to go to the barbershop, I have them cut it, and then every day I'll either get my electric shaver or my shaver. I'll just hit it just to keep the line fresh.
Oh,
just to keep it. So it's like, it's not me necessarily having to line it up, or it's just me like hitting the outside areas to keep it fresh, so nothing's growing out on top. So it'll just make, so say for me, by my fourth day after I get a cut, by my fourth day it's looking rough again. If I'm doing that, I can go a week before it's time to go. So little tricks of the trade.
Cheat code right there.
Little tricks of the trade you learn, man. So I do that. I do that all the time.
That's a cheat code for sure. Mm-hmm. Brody, next question. I got to ask you this, man, because, you know, like, I'm building this platform, you know, definitely to put on for homies that's bald, and really to help guys that are struggling with hair loss too. But I'm starting to get this feeling, bro. Maybe it's just because, you know, the media I'm seeing is what I'm clicking on, what I'm building. But I got this feeling right now that bald men are like having a resurgence. Like, I feel like there was a time where, you know, people was really not really rocking with bald men, but like you said, today, like, women are rocking with bald men, like guys are seeing it and being like, that's a wave. Are you also seeing that, like, yo, something's happening right now where we kind of up?
Yeah. No, I'm seeing it and I'm feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing it and I'm feeling it, because I think the 90s was that, mid 90s was like that first resurgence of bald, where it was like a thing. Of course, like 70s was afros, 80s was more of like the Jerry curls and the curly hair. I feel like the 90s was that first resurgence of just that first, you know, wave of where bald was truly the thing and embraced. And then we went through a wave of time where it wasn't. And it feels like now it's just more of a thing. Like, I'll be on social media and just reading different posts where, you know, be women posting stuff like, hey, ladies, what do you prefer, a beard or no beard, or bald or that? And I was almost surprised at how many women were saying, I love a bald-headed man with a beard. For them, it's like something that, again, I think I've read articles where women perceive bald men as more masculine. So I take it that's what it is. But I love seeing how embraced it really is now, because it just feels like it's a new time, and it's really felt. So I feel it, and I see it too, man.
No doubt. I just want to make sure I'm not the only one out here. I always ask the homies, am I tripping because I'm trying to build this?
Oh no, man, we here. That's the thing. Yeah, we here, bro. We here, bro.
I always joke. I was like, yo, son, ball man up like light-skinned guys in the 90s. So you really get both. You get best of both worlds, man.
Best of both worlds, bro. Best of both worlds, man.
So, G, we're going to go into the back end of this, man. I got a couple questions to ask you.
Okay.
Got about 5 questions, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
My first question for you, Brody, is like, you know, right now we rocking the bald head, and like we don't really have the opportunity to switch it up. We can't get the fade, grow it out, whatever. We got one look. So a lot of bald men will wear hats to kind of like switch up their look. Do you wear hats? And if so, what's your like favorite or go-to hat?
Man, I've never really been much of a hat wearer. Like even back, you know, in the baggy era when fitted hats and jerseys and all of that was in, I've never been much of a hat wearer. Every now and then you may, you know, catch me with a snapback on, but it's rare. I mean, for the most part, if you see me with a hat on, it's probably a beanie, Yeah, like a polo beanie. You know, I wear a polo beanie when it's cold, but that's probably the most you'll see me wear a hat. I like the feeling of having a fresh shaved head and being out in the world. I don't, you know, I don't cover that up too often. Most I do is when it's cold and I throw a beanie on. So that's pretty much it for as far as hats go.
Like that. I like that. So for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Second question here, bro, is we talked about some of your grooming products already, but talk to me about your favorite or your go-to grooming product that you can't live without. What's that product you got to have? It could be a beard product, shaving product, whatever.
Man, you know what? I don't have too many products, man. I need
Okay.
to. I think I need to find some. When I shave my head, I just throw on. After I shave my head, I just use the mint green isopropyl alcohol
Okay.
to wipe myself down, and maybe throw a little cocoa butter on my head just to kind of smooth it out and soothe it a little bit. But that's about it, man. I need so if you got any beard oil recommendations or anything, man,
I
shoot
throw
them
you a
my
lob on that one. I throw
yeah,
you a
throw me a
lob on that
line,
one
man, because
for sure.
I don't have any. So yeah, throw me the line, man. I'm
I
always
think
open to new information.
the one I use, my boy put me on actually, I think she's out of Atlanta. It's called Coils by Nature, but I'll email that to you too for sure.
Yeah, yeah, send it my way, bro. 'Cause I'm always open to new ideas and new things, but I
And
definitely
it's,
try.
and it's black owned. So, I
Come
got
on,
I
man.
got you on
You
that.
can't beat that. You
I
can't beat
got
that.
you on that.
Come on, I support black business, man.
Next question, G. We talked about, and you even mentioned it earlier, how like as you even continue to get into your acting career, you look at some of these ball actors who kind of set the tone for you. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about all the most iconic ball men that we've seen, kind of set the tone, what would you say are the top four most iconic ball men that you put on the Mount Rushmore ball homies?
Top four most iconic ball man on my Mount Rushmore. I'm gonna say Michael Jordan.
It's a
Gotta,
lock.
gotta put Mike in there. I'm gonna throw Pac in there.
Oh, for sure.
I'm gonna throw because I'm a fan of him, especially like younger days. I'm gonna throw Vin Diesel in there.
No
He's one
doubt.
of the guys. He's one of the guys I looked at when I was saying I want to act. I was like, yeah, I like the edge he
Mhm.
has being bald. So I'm gonna throw Vin Diesel in there, and then I gotta throw the Rock in there.
No doubt. No doubt.
I think
Supersonic.
those my four. Yeah, I'm gonna throw those my four who have really owned it, but also transcended it. I mean,
Ooh.
Mike, and Pop like really like made it the thing.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I feel like they're the catalyst of why the ball had. Oh, can I give an honorable mention?
Gotta do that.
Can
Throw
I
it
give
in
an
there. Throw
honorable
it in there.
mention? I'm gonna throw DMX in there, man. RP. I gotta throw DMX in there for the honorable mention.
Hey, that's one of the hardest lists I heard, man, so
Yeah,
far. That's one of the
yeah,
hardest lists, no doubt.
yeah. I gotta say those five have been like the catalyst. Yeah.
Rest in peace to X, like you said, for sure.
Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace.
Next question I got here, and like I said, these last two questions, man, you gotta dig a little bit deeper here. You know what I'm saying? But that's what this platform is about.
Okay.
So, next question is: if you know somebody's watching this right now, bro, and they're struggling with hair loss, dealing with that, whether it's anxiety, embarrassment, bro. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this to you. Um, I've been on Reddit before, and it's a whole like subreddit about
Mm,
hair loss, where it's guys in there like just down bad, bro, like dealing with
yeah.
depression, just so much because of losing their hair.
Yeah.
So if you know somebody like that could be watching this right now, what's the best advice you could give them, bro?
I would say don't fight it because everything happens for a reason, right? And also it's all mental. Like it's really all in your head. Not as many people don't really think and care about you going bald as much as you do. You know what I mean? Like it's really all in your head. You're thinking, oh, what do they think? What do they say? Nothing. Like like if anything, people are gonna compliment you on how good it looks because it's not as bad as you would think. And the sooner you can accept it, the sooner you'll be able to embrace it. And that's what it's all about is truly embracing it and just being open to that new chapter of your life. Because again, I've said this word several times since we've been on here, evolution. You got to be willing to evolve. So once you're open to evolving to that new chapter of your life and you're able to embrace it, you'll be surprised that the reception that you get from, the world, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. You'll be surprised at the things that come into your space once you just accept it and you embrace it, and you're more than likely you'll like it. Like I don't. I don't know I don't think I've met any bald men who had been bald and still complain and are upset about it. Like for the most part, they're all like, yeah, I love it. Like it changed, it's a new life for me. So really just be open to new things and embrace it. It's not that bad
No
at
doubt.
all.
So you mentioned evolution several times in that answer, and that's a good segue to the last question here, bro.
Mm,
Um, we call the brand "Come Home" for two different reasons, right? Me and you just talked about how the culture uses that term,
yeah.
but also we spell it in French because in French it means like a man or as a man in English, and the whole thing for the brand is to help men embrace their natural evolution. A couple words you've mentioned several times: embrace and evolution. So, bro, when I think about the concept of being a man and masculinity, I feel like it's evolved a lot over time. Like when we were coming up, all we would see is like to be a man, you need to be dominant, powerful, have multiple women. Like that's all we would see. I think as times changed, we've learned more about what it means to be a man, about maybe being emotionally vulnerable, et
Right.
cetera, et cetera. So when you think about what it means to be a man today in 22, bro, what does that mean to you, dog?
Man, you know, it's a it's such a deep thing because I feel like where I'm at in my life now at 30, man, I'm really in the best space I've ever been in my life. At this age, I felt like, my younger 20s, like, my younger 20s, I went through that phase of feeling like I knew everything. Then as I got to my mid 20s, I felt like I know that I know everything. Then once I got towards my late 20s, it really snapped like, damn, I don't know anything. you know, I don't know anything. So these last couple years of my life now has really just been unlearning a lot of the programming that I've taken in over those earlier years of my life, and just really reprogramming and redefining who I am, who I want to be, how I want to spend the rest of my life. How do I want the rest of my life to look like? How can I grow, right? Understanding who I am, where I struggle, why I struggle, the things I want to fix, the everything, deepening my relationships with my family, deepening my relationships with my friends, with myself. I'm asking myself those tough situations, right? Figuring out what do I like to do, what do I not like to do, right? Don't Not trying to fit into anything, whether it's fit into circles of people, whether it's fitting into a job that I'm no longer connected to, any of that. Really just tapping in. I think a lot of being a man is just really tapping into who you are, and defining your own definition of what a man is, right? It's not about being tough, it's not about having all the girls like how we thought when we were young, it's not all about having all the money, right? It's really defining what happiness looks like to you, and how can you tap into that happiness every single day, but also how can you spread love and give and be positive towards other people and affect people, in the best light as you can, man. I reached a point in my life where I finally realized how who I am affects other people. So really tapping into, okay, it's not always all about me. It's the world is so much bigger than that. So once I really kind of tapped into that, that's when I really started to walk into manhood. You know what I'm saying? So I think everybody's gonna have their own walk into manhood, but I think a good way to start it is really tapping into, asking yourself those tough questions. Who am I? What am I? What do I want in life? What am I afraid of? Who do I love? Once you tap into those, and don't be afraid to isolate yourself to get those answers. A lot of people are afraid of stillness, and a lot of people are afraid of isolation. But part of being a man is going on that journey alone to get those questions and get those answers. It was RIP to Kobe, man. I know you said that's one of your favorite guys. I was watching a clip of an interview, and he said, it's still answers I don't have. It's still questions that I don't even have. So I think really taking the time to really ask those questions is just develop a point of view on yourself and the world around you. And I think that's the beginnings of manhood and really becoming who you're supposed to be in this world.
God damn, dog. So you just went on a soliloquy, which was just beautiful, man. There's so many things that I can relate to that you just touched on, G. Like, for instance, that idea of stillness, isolation, bro. To be real, over the pandemic, I was probably the most lonely I'd ever been in my entire life over the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in business school, my roommates leave because, they going back to their crib. I'm like, well, I'm gonna stay. I'm not gonna go back to the crib, get my
Right.
parents to potentially. So I stay. I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna hate living by myself because I've always had roommates. So I was like, y'all don't leave. Y'all. I don't like being by myself.
Right.
They leave. I have a blast. I was like, yo, why? I never thought I would enjoy living alone. I loved
Yep.
it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But so much of that time I spent getting to know myself. Like,
Right.
all I really knew of myself was what everybody else knew of myself. Like, just that party, fun
Whew.
dude, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
That's all I knew because that's all I consistently was. And I
Exactly.
never spent the time by myself to get to know myself.
To know
And it
this.
was a beautiful thing. And it was
Yep.
that what came along with that was growth,
Yep.
development, more questions, more reflection, understanding, like, to your point, even getting deeper with my family. Like, me and my family probably got closer we ever been over the last couple of years. Me rethinking my relationships with women, like, what have I done wrong? What can I do be better at? All these different things. It's just a couple of years of growth, man. That's, to me, has been a beautiful thing, but it's really taught me, like, what it really means to be a man. And a lot of it is digging deeper into yourself to understand what's important to you, what kind of person you want to be, man. And it's been a beautiful journey. So to hear you say that, because we almost very similar ages, to hear somebody else is going through that almost at the same time, it's a beautiful thing, G.
Yeah, man, it's dope. But I mean, that was the one, the one positive I think about the whole pandemic, bro, is that, it really shook up the world to where everybody was affected at the same time. And it showed you that none of us are in control, right? And we were forced to, okay, everything's taken away from us. It's no going out partying, it's no being around friends, it's none of that. Literally, we all had to sit still and take on that reflection, man. And I think for the most part, a lot of us came out the other side more whole. And I think that's what life is all about, man. What it's
My
all
man,
about.
my man. Son, if somebody's watching this right now, they rock your story and they wanted to hear more from you, how can they find you on social media, G?
Man, tap in with me, Tarique Francis. So my name is spelled Tarique, Francis, Francis. Follow me on social media, man. I'm a pretty private person, but I think I do a pretty good job of showing a good amount of my life, man. I like to travel a lot, so you'll see some travel content on there. If you ever have questions on any countries I've been to, I'll be more than happy to give you information and just some game on those places. If you're interested in, getting into the acting world, tap in with me. I'll be more than happy to give you any information I can. Anything, man. Follow me on social media. I'm there. I'm always open to new connections, new relationships, and just meeting new people.
No doubt, man. And bro, as you build your content channel that you mentioned, make sure you tap back in with me, man. I want to make sure I do my part to share that with the world as well, man. And
For sure, man. For
keep
sure.
us posted on your other acting plays too, man. We want to know where we can find you, how we can
Yeah,
support. So we're looking out for you and the biggest things coming out of Atlanta in the future, my G.
for sure, man. Again, bro, I appreciate you for having me on. Like I said earlier, as soon as I saw your channel, bro, it resonated with me. I was motivated. I was excited, man. I love what you're doing. Again, bro, this is a much needed space, and keep doing it, man. Keep building.
That's love. Hey, bro, if you know some other ball homies, let them know, tell them to holler at me, tell
Oh,
them
for
to
sure,
tap in, let them have them
for
up here
sure.
too.
For sure, bro. I'm gonna send this to my boy who I told you got a couple more years left. I'm gonna send this to him just to give him a little bit of gas under his foot.
That's love, man. That's love. Y'all, thank y'all for joining us today on another episode of Ball to Ball. And as I say on every single episode, y'all stay ball, y'all stay bold, and we'll see y'all soon.
Already.
Sure.
Already.